Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Liz Javier podcast, your go-to space for inspiration, empowerment, and actionable strategies to live a life of purpose and clarity. I'm Liz Javier, your host and life and wellness coach. As we step into 2025, I wanted to offer some fresh perspective on your goals and resolutions. And as you can tell by the title, I'm not really a fan of resolutions. Why am I not a fan of resolutions? Aren't they supposed to be good for you? So glad that you asked. Now, let's talk about the habits of resolutions. I feel like they have failed society a little bit. Most of the time, people set unrealistic goals when it comes to the beginning of the year. Now, a lot of the times, there's no concrete plan to achieve them, even if they are realistic, or maybe there's no milestones there to help track them. But most of the presence of accountability, just really isn't there. Year after year, we set these resolutions, and then after January, they start to sizzle off, maybe even sooner. Now, statistics show that about 9% of people actually achieve their resolutions, with the majority of those giving up within the first few weeks. So if you take a look at the statistics, the 23% fall off by the end of the first week. Today's January 9th. If you're listening to this in real time, and it's already the first week. So 23% of people out there have already failed their resolutions, and another 43 are going to by the end of January. So I say F resolutions, forget resolutions. That's what the F stands for. I thought you would think it stood for something else, but I say forget resolutions. Now, this is called New Year's resolutions because that's what we're taught to do. Set resolutions for the new year. What do you want to achieve, right? New year, new you type of mentality. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not. But why only do that at the beginning of the year? Why only stop drinking in January and go through a dry January? What good does it do for just 1 month? A lot of good in that month. But what about the other 11 months of the year? So, time to ditch your resolutions. This is not about ditching goals. Do not get me wrong. It's about shifting the way we think about them. So today I'm going to deep dive into what it means to be instead of just doing, right? We're doing these resolutions always, always, always at the beginning of the year. So instead of resolutions, I'm going to talk about being present, being something rather than just doing something. And in this, we're going to explore mindfulness, the power of presence, and just really how to understand what you really have, which is enough. You have enough to transform and approach life this year, whether it's now, next month, the next month after that. It's all about how you view it. And I also want to talk about expectations on that we set on ourselves. How we view achievements necessarily is not healthy. If you've ever felt like you're chasing achievement after achievement, never fully satisfied when you reach the finish line, this episode is for you. If you've been that person that does what you are expected to do, go to high school, graduate high school, get into a good college, graduate college, get a job, get married, buy a house, have kids, get promoted, get a raise, get promoted again, save a retirement, retire, etc. If you're in that cycle, I really want you to think back to your achievements that you have achieved. And once you've done something, did you stop and see how it felt? Did you move on to the next thing? Did you stop and just be instead of just going forward and not live in the moment? Together, let's reframe how we experience success and fulfillment. Not just the big moments, but every day, small and big, they all count. Now, first thing we're going to talk about. So, why resolutions or goals alone just aren't enough. Now, how many of us at the beginning of the year have a long list of resolutions? Maybe not this year, maybe this year. Maybe in previous years, could look something like lose weight, save money, build a new habit, drink more water, go for walks every day, spend more time for my family, work harder, be smarter, think smarter. And don't get me wrong, again, these goals are very important. But let me ask you something, and I really want you to be honest with yourself. When you've achieved some of your biggest goals in the past, whether that be graduating college, getting the job of your dreams, Maybe it was getting that promotion or hitting a fitness milestone. I really want you to think, did that accomplishment really feel as fulfilling as you expected? Going to repeat that again. Think about a milestone that you've hit. Did that accomplishment really feel as fulfilling as you expected? You might have thrown that party, celebration, gone out to dinner with your friends, celebrated it. But then what? That feeling of fulfillment, did it stay? Or did it start to fade away? How did you savor that moment? How long did that moment actually last? Or was it right away? Done, did it, what's next? Did you already set your sights on the next thing? If you're sitting there thinking, yeah, I've been moving from one thing to the next without actually being in the moment, or those moments seem very fleeting, it's because this is a trap of doing over being. We're always taught to be in achievement mode, and we forget to live in the moment. There's a purpose behind what you're doing, and a lot of times we get lost in that purpose. Maybe it's because we were told that we had to do these things. Now, this trap of doing over being, psychologists actually call this the arrival fallacy. So according to an article published in Psychology Today, the arrival fallacy is a false belief that achieving a goal will bring lasting happiness. So whether that was graduating school, getting the job of your dreams, getting a car that you really loved, buying that house, getting married to the love of your life, these are things that happen that we believe will make us happy. And in some of those moments, I'm sure that you are happy. But is it lasting happiness? The reality is that happiness isn't something that we just arrive at. It's something that we cultivate and we feel in the present moment. So whether you have a roof over your house, a big house, a small apartment, that's not going to matter unless you feel happy. And there's so many things in the present moment that could cultivate happiness or can take away from your happiness. So I really want to give you an insight on how you can create more happiness in your life by shifting your mindset to a being mindset. B-E-I-N-G. Right? We're human beings. We're not human doers. So I want to talk about how we can be more human beings and change that mindset to be. So let's shift it and break down a list of examples so I can show you the difference on how that looks. Because sometimes you're like, well, I'm here. Little taco back there, trying to make his first podcast experience. All right, where were we? All right, so we're going to break down examples that show the difference of what being and doing is so you can focus on the changes that you need to in your life, or maybe even just come to a realization that you've been more in a do mode rather than a be mode. So if you talk about financial goals, so let me give you an example of financial goals first. So let's say that, some of us are looking to save money, right? Instead of saying that I want to save $10,000 this year, ask yourself, who do I need to be to save $10,000 this year? It's easy enough to say I'm going to do something, but it's not as easy when you figure out what you have to be in order to do it. So when you focus on being financially responsible, it's no longer about that number in the bank account anymore. It's about becoming someone who feels empowered about their finances. You take pride in each of your choices, and you're intentional about your choices. So packing a lunch instead of eating out at work, creating a thoughtful budget and calling it, instead of a budget, a conscious spending plan, right? Just shifting small things in your mindset that make something feel a little bit more doable. Now, this could also be investing in skills that grow your income, right? Every action aligns of who you are becoming, not just the type of thing that you're trying to achieve. So you can easily, within the first 3 months of the year, stick $10,000 away, but then what are you left with? You might go January and February and like, oh my gosh, I've only saved $200 in the first 2 months. My $10,000 goal is not going to be doable. And you give up. And that's where most of those resolutions come in. But if you say, I'm going to be someone who can save $10,000 this year, you're going to then think about, what do I need to do? What are the actions that I need to take in order to become that? And in the process of all of that, guess what? You're becoming something that can then carry on to the next year and the year after that. And it's not just about a New Year's resolution for this year. It's about a resolution or goals that you can take with you and achieve throughout the whole entire life. Let's go into another example. So health and fitness, everybody always has a health and fitness goal, especially if you gain that 5, 10, 15 pounds over the holidays, or whether you've just over the last few years. Let's just be honest, we're all getting older and it's harder to keep our metabolism up. So when we talk about health, starting the year, you might say, I want to lose 20 pounds. That's a doing mindset. It's task oriented. And you really just focus on the result. So let's shift that into a being mindset. So if you're one that said, I want to lose weight, I want to be healthier, I want to drink more water, whatever that health and fitness goal was, I want you to take that and let's shift it. So for losing 20 pounds, it could be, I want to be someone who prioritizes health and self-care. I want to be someone who feels strong, energetic, and vibrant. Now it's up to you to put this into practice. So what is the environment that you need to create to be someone who prioritizes health and self-care? What are the tasks that you need to do in order to feel strong, be energetic, and feel vibrant? Are you nourishing yourself with the right foods? Because if you want to feel strong and energetic and vibrant, you want to lose 20 pounds. If you go to the gym every single day or 2 hours a day, if you're still eating crap food, you're going to be tired. You're not going to be able to lose weight, at least not effectively and efficiently. And you're going to feel like you're losing your energy, even though you're trying so hard, you're working your butt off in the gym, but you're not fueling your body and nourishing it with the right foods. You can also ask yourself, am I moving in the way that feels good and energizes me? So maybe it's the workout routine. There's so many different workout routines out there, different things you can do: yoga, Pilates, group fitness classes, cardio training classes, HIIT classes. I could just go on and on and on. But if you are doing something that you don't enjoy, are you going to be vibrant? Are you going to want to be energetic or feel enough energy to go do that? If you want to be someone who is healthy, and once you lose the 20 pounds, be that person that keeps it off. You can't just be and do the things now to lose the 20 pounds. And in 3 months from now, when you lose the 20 pounds, go back to the way you were doing things before. So how can you be the person that's going to lose the 20 pounds, but also be that person that's going to maintain and keep the 20 pounds off? Because in the end of the day, as your body changes 10, 20 years from now, you might be able to maintain that weight, but it's going to take some work. And if you start to be that person now, 10, 20 years from now, when your metabolism slows down, you can still be that strong, energetic, and vibrant person, no matter what your weight is. As long as you're practicing the things like tuning into your body rather than obsessing over the scale. So ask yourself those different questions and how you can be that person that is healthy or is into fitness, right? If you want to be healthy and into fitness, you have to commit to that lifestyle. All right, I've got one more example before we move on. So personal growth and relationships. So looking at relationships, maybe your goal is to make new friends. Maybe you've moved to a new state, city, or you just need a new group of friends. Let's be honest, we go through our cycles. Or you want to improve your marriage or your relationship with your significant other. Great intentions. They're also about doing, right? I want to do these things. I want to go make new friends. I want to improve my relationship. But think about asking yourself this question: who do I want to be in my relationship? We think about improving our relationship or making new friends, we start to get this outward focus on the other person. But who do you want to be? What new friends do you want to attract? What energy and feeling do you want in your relationship or your marriage? Maybe it's, I want to be someone who is open, empathetic, and present, someone who listens deeply and communicates with kindness. Because if there's issues in your current relationship or you're having issues making new friends, setting that goal to do that, you might see a little bit of progress, but if you want to see true results, you have to look internally first. If you want to be someone who's open, empathetic, and present, you're going to attract people who are also going to be open, empathetic, and present. When you shift into being to this mindset, your actions will change as well. So if you think about that's who you want to be, you'll start to show up in conversations with more intention. You create space for vulnerability and connection, which is very hard to do, and especially today's world. I'm not going to even get into that. The goal is just to be about adding new friends or solving your conflict in marriage, but being is about becoming the person who can nurture meaningful relationships and fulfilling relationships, whether they exist now or you're trying to attract that. So when we look at the deeper meaning of being, it's really at its core being and embodying the values, the attitudes, and just really identifying with everything that aligns to your goals. So when you do all this and you be the things that you want to be, you actually enjoy the process more. So if you do the actions that get you to the end goal, yes, you might get to the same end goal at the end of the day. But if you are present in the being, when you get to the end goal, you're going to be able to look back and learn lessons from it. And there's just this hits me so hard because I just had a moment where I thought back to all the things that I've accomplished in my life. And some of the most meaningful things that I've accomplished, I didn't accomplish or get an award for because that was my end goal. They were all things where I wanted to be something specific for the people around me, and then it was recognized because I became that. And success is great. And then there's things where I actually said, I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to be this and I want to be that. And I go through and I do. Okay, this person did it. They did this, this, and this. So I'm going to do that as well. And at the end of the day, I met that goal. But then I was like, okay, let's go to the next goal and the next goal. And it doesn't feel as meaningful. When you slow down and you be in the present moment, the other thing that happens is time slow down. Time slows down. There we go. If you're like me last year, I'm like, oh crap, it's July. Oh my gosh, it's August. Oh, it's December. Christmas is here. And last year just flew by so fast. And instead of thinking, oh, I've done so many great things this year, I'm like, I didn't accomplish anything that I wanted to this year. There's so many things that I wanted to do that I didn't. And then I paused and I said, you know what? I'm going to be in this moment. So at the end of December, I actually went back and I looked through pictures. I looked through my calendar and I picked out some of the key moments each month. January and February, there was like no key moments. I was going through a really hard time. I was depressed. I wasn't feeling great about life. And then I can tell I started to make some changes. And in March, April, May, I started to go with more trips, started to make more friends, started to do more things. And I know exactly what moments that I was present in. And then there were some other things that I didn't accomplish that were just kind of like to-do tasks. Like, I have to do this. I need to accomplish this. And a lot of it was work related. But personally, I didn't have anything that I really accomplished until the end of the year. But now looking back and just taking like 5 to 10 pictures from each month, and I made a little collage for myself, I realized when I really started to go from the doing to the being. When I went from the doing to the being, I started to have more actions that aligned with happiness. You can even see it in my face and in my pictures. I became more happy, more vibrant. I took more pictures, right? And a lot of these I didn't even put on social media because they were just for me. I was being in the moment, and I wasn't trying to be something to do later, which means post it later for everyone else to see. I did them because I wanted to be there for myself, and I was there in the being with my friends. So, long story short, don't wait to be fulfilled in the future. You will see success, you'll feel worthy, you'll be fulfilled in the future as well. But if you start that process by being now, every day you are present and focus on that being, the journey becomes more rewarding than the destination. So throughout this year, no matter what you do, no matter what goal you set, think about what you want to be. And then do. You can do those things, but what do you want to be, and how do you want people to see you throughout the whole year? Now I'm going to move on to another topic, which is just recognizing that you have enough. A lot of people go throughout with ambition to do things, but they feel, and I've felt, that I didn't have enough to accomplish XYZ. Ambition is important, but unchecked ambition can really easily turn into greed or dissatisfaction. So what does that mean? Let's look at some real life examples of this, where the desire for more led to just devastating consequences. So there's people out there in life that you may know of, and we'll just talk about one person and one instance that happened as well. And most people know about these. So I'm not going to go into the backstory. If you want to know more, please go and read more up on it. So living in the being instead of doing. So if you're living in the being, you are going to avoid tragic consequences like the two that I'm going to share. So everyone knows who Bernie Madoff is. He was one of the most successful and respected figures on Wall Street. And he had more than enough. He had financial wealth, he had power, he had influence, but he always wanted more. That desire led him to create one of the largest Ponzi scheme in history since Ponzi had a scheme. Ultimately, really just defrauded investors of millions and millions of dollars, stole millions of dollars, billions of dollars of people's hard-earned money, when he himself already had millions, and I think at this point even billions of dollars. But he wanted more. Instead of enjoying the money that he had and enjoying the friendships and relationships he had with the people around him, he went after and desired and wanted more. What's tragic is that his greed not only destroyed his life, but also the lives of other people. And it's one thing if you want to destroy your own life, go and do it. But when that consequence also affects the lives of countless hundreds and thousands of other people, for what? He had enough. He had plenty of money. He was not just living on the streets, poor and wanting to get a job just to do something. No, he wanted more. He got into this desire mode where he wanted to do more, whether it was for his pride or whatever it might be. Who knows? I'm sure that there's someone out there that got to talk to him and ask him why he did it. But if he would have just be successful, be a dad, be a husband, be a friend, be an uncle, if he would have just practiced gratitude and contentment in being what he could with the money that he had, he might have avoided the disastrous pursuit of endless accumulation. He was never going to be happy if he never got caught with that scheme. Do you think he would have created something different? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think we all realize that it always catches up with you. There's a karmatic effect out there that always catches up with you. So that's just one person out of probably hundreds throughout history that have done something just like that, where they had enough, but they really went out to do more. And at the end of the day, it hurt themselves and hundreds, thousands, and in some instances, even millions. Now, this doesn't even have to be a person. It could actually be a situation. So, do you guys remember the housing bubble? I was still like in college or fresh out of college, didn't own a house, so it did not affect me that much. But I saw so many people around me that it affected. So back in 2008, there was a huge housing market crash. So many people lost their homes, uh, went bankrupt because of it. Their houses got repossessed. They defaulted. Banks and financial institutions just really had more than enough in terms of profits and stability, but they desired exponential growth, which really led to risky lending processes or practices and greed driven decision making. And what happened is that the financial crisis affected millions of people. These two examples show us the dangers of chasing more. If we would just appreciate what we had, because those banks, the lenders, the people making the money, they had already more than enough. But since they desired more and they saw an opportunity, they took it. And they failed to recognize that they had enough. And when we recognize that we have enough, our happiness, our integrity, our relationships thrive. When we fail to recognize it, it is so risky to put negative connotations or negative energy into the happiness, but our integrity and relationships are really what suffers the most. So, as we bring it closer to home, think about your own life. What do you already have that you've been overlooking? If you're wanting to lose weight, are you still healthy at this moment? Maybe you have high blood pressure, maybe you have diabetes, but you're given an opportunity where you're standing on 2 feet. You have the capabilities of doing a lot of things. You already have enough. And it's okay to desire more, but it's also very important that you take some time to appreciate what you currently have. Maybe it's a supportive partner. Maybe you want to create more in your relationship and you already have somebody that is very supportive of you. Or, you want to make more money, but you already have a fulfilling job that has a really great income. Again, it's okay to want to get that next promotion. It is okay to want to get a raise and make more money. But it's not okay to think that you don't have enough already. You have enough, and when you start to appreciate what you have now, when you don't get to the end goal, or maybe you do get to the end goal, you're going to feel a little bit more appreciative. You're going to enjoy the journey. And if you already feel like you have enough, you don't feel pressure to have to do that next thing. I think if you really focus on gratitude, and I have done this on and off for most of my adult life. And when I'm on, I will tell you the shift in my perspective is uncanny. If I'm just doing gratitude. So every morning when I practice my meditation or my yoga, or I just wake up, maybe I don't do yoga or meditation in that moment or in the morning, then I just sit in gratitude and I put my hands on my heart and I feel my heartbeat, and I'm just thankful that I'm alive and that I have the lungs and the heart working to keep me alive. If you focus on that gratitude, your perspective will shift in a drastic way. That doesn't mean you have to stop dreaming or stop striving for more. Being gratitude or having gratitude for the things that you have now just keeps you grounded, keeps your feet on the ground. When someone says, oh, they're so down to earth, that's exactly what it is. They're grounded. They can see that they're living in the moment and that they're grateful for it. And it also reminds us that the life we have right now is already full of abundance, and there's so much more abundance around to go around. When we approach mindset, when we approach life from a mindset of enough. We just make better decisions. We're less likely to compromise our values or chase empty ambitions, and we're more likely to feel fulfilled and live in that present moment. Now, here's some ways, and I kind of already talked about it a little bit. So I'm going to talk about some tools for being. Mindfulness and meditation. I didn't used to be a meditator. I used to think this woo-woo BS didn't work. Man, did the universe prove me wrong. When I asked for help and found it through yoga, I just used yoga as a workout. And when I figured out that yoga, what I was actually practicing was mindfulness and meditation, completely changed my life. So I'm going to give you a couple different ways that you can practice mindfulness and meditation. And these are so powerful. These tools will help you shift into a state of being. I'm going to go over some research because I like to connect a little bit of science with the woo. The woo I know works, but if you understand the science behind it, it really helps you understand that this isn't just something that we do, that we expect like this magical light to come down and to fix everything in our lives, because that is not it. All this mindfulness and these tools, they work from the inside out. Our biology actually changes from the inside out when we practice mindfulness and meditation. So there's a research from Harvard that shows that mindfulness meditation can increase your sense of well-being, reduce stress, and even slow down your perception of time. We talked about that, right? When you're doing, instead of being present in the moment, time passes by quickly. So think about it. How often do you feel like it's flying by? Months blur together, weeks blur together, days blur together, and before you know it, the whole entire year has passed. And that felt like my whole first 9 months of 2024. If you resonate with that, I would love to hear in the comments from you guys if that feels like something that you've experienced before. And as we get older, it's going to continue to feel sped up. It will speed up. It will continue to go in that direction. So mindfulness, when you anchor yourself in the present, you'll start to notice more little things like the warmth of the sun on your skin, the coolness of the breeze, joy in a quiet morning cup of coffee or your drink of your choice, whatever that is. These small moments are where we can really, truly experience happiness. And that's where life really, truly happens, in the small moments where we're happy. If we're always chasing something, we will miss out on life. All right, so one simple thing that you can do is start just being through meditation. So here's a quick exercise. So you can do this right now if you want to. Find a quiet spot and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths. So if you want to do that now, close your eyes. Relax the shoulders. Sit up nice and tall through the crown of your head. And take a few deep breaths. Maybe this is in through your mouth or in through your nose. It doesn't matter. And then big exhale. If you want to start to deepen your breath even more, seal your lips, place the tongue to the roof of your mouth as you inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, exhale slowly through your nose, or if you feel like you need more of a release, open the mouth and give a big exhale. Do it again. Big inhale. And then big exhale. Keep a nice steady breath. Continue focusing on how your breath feels. If your to-do list or anything comes up, just let it flow into your mind and then flow right back out. Set it aside and say, I recognize that I need to do this, but I need these 5 minutes. So you're going to go over here and you can pick it back up. And start to focus on your to-be list. So of all the things that you have to do today, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a calm, joyful, inspiring, motivational, What is it? As you continue to breathe within control, being mindful of every breath that you take, start to visualize what that looks like. What does it mean to embody the state of being? So if you want to be calm today, as you go throughout the rest of your day and pick up your kids from school and feed them and help them with their homework, do you want to be calm and joyful? That state of being, what does it look like? As you're in the state of being, what does everybody around you look like? Are they calm? Are they joyful? Are they smiling? And at the end of the day, as you get into bed, visualize yourself reflecting on your day. Are you happy, and did you accomplish everything on your to-be list? Take another deep breath in, and then big exhale. And start to flutter your eyes open, come back to a natural state of breathing. Just a small 5-minute practice of this can shift your whole entire day. So being mindful, meditation is not about believing in a specific religion. You don't have to believe in a specific religion or believe in the universe or a higher power. You just have to believe that there is an energy within yourself that you can shift. Now, if this feels too uncomfortable for you, there is another way to practice mindfulness. And it could be throughout your day, being mindful of the steps that you take. So instead of rushing from your desk to go have lunch, to come back, to go to this person's desk, to go do that, slow down and just think about every step you take and really pay attention to your feet. What shoes are you wearing? What are you stepping on? Is it carpet? Is it linoleum? As you're stepping down, how do your feet feel? So you can practice mindfulness and just small little tasks like walking. Or if you're a multitasker, I laugh because I am a huge multitasker and I stopped multitasking. I might simultaneously task, I guess you could call it. I might start the laundry and then I go do the dishes. And then once those are running, then I'll go fold clothes and, I'll do this or that. There's a difference between unmindful actions and mindfulness. So instead of trying to multitask and do several things at once, is just to pause and focus on one thing at a time. And another way to practice mindfulness could just be when you're eating. Do you eat at your desk? Be honest. How many of us work through lunch? We take time to shove a few bites of food in our mouth and then we type 3 or 4 emails and we do it again. If you could pause and just take 15, 20 minutes to go away and just mindful eating. Eat every single bite. What does it taste like? What's the temperature? Do I like what I'm eating? Chew, swallow before you take the next bite. Just a small little practice of mindfulness can really change your focus from a doing into a being mindset. And we think that I have to do that because I don't have enough time in the day to get everything done. When you are mindful and you slow down, guess what? You create more space and more time in your day. And I know that seems weird and counterproductive. And you're like, nope, that's not going to work. Just try it for a week. When you slow down, you get to do more. And so someone had said it to me a few months ago and I was like, yep, you're right. I know this and I've done it before. Slow down to speed up, meaning slow down to get more done. And when I started to slow down, it all started with my morning routine. It's just waking up 15 minutes earlier. I can get 45 minutes of stuff done just by waking up 15 minutes earlier and slowing down. So instead of rushing to do this and that and try to get ready, I pause, I make my coffee, get that all done, and then I go shower, do all that. Then I go my makeup. I get all that done. Instead of, okay, I'm going to make coffee. Okay, I'm going to start the shower. I'm going to grab my clothes. I'm going to go check on the coffee. All right, my shower's ready. I'm going to jump in. All right, I'm going to do part of my hair while this is drying. I'm going to go ahead and do my makeup. It was taking me longer to try to multitask and jump from one thing to another rather than just pausing and doing one thing at a time. That mindfulness created more time in my morning, just like slow down to speed up, slow down to get more done. There's so many different ways you can practice mindfulness, but if you really just slow down and pay attention to every single task you're doing and give it all the love that it deserves before you move on to the next. And that's really what my last thing that I want to talk about is just really enjoying the journey. So let's wrap up with this. Remember to enjoy the journey. Think about some of the biggest achievements in your life. Again, that graduating, getting a promotion, or maybe starting a business, getting your dream job. How much of the process did you actually enjoy? If we enjoyed the process, when you really reach the goal, then you can give yourself really that permission to celebrate before you move on to the next thing. One way to truly savor the journey is to practice the process of gratitude and mindfulness. Every time you take a step towards your goal, take a moment to acknowledge it. For example, if your goal is to run a marathon, celebrate each time you train, whether it was good or not. If your goal is to start a new business, celebrate each conversation or connection that moves you closer to accomplishing it. I have to bring this up, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but because I feel called to, it's coming. So in yoga class this morning, Natalie, I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but Natalie at Black Swan, bless your heart, you're one of my faves. This morning in class, she said she ran into somebody last week that had a dragonfly tattoo on their hand. And she complimented it, and the person was like, you know why I have this? Is to remind me to keep going. Because a dragonfly, and I didn't know this, and it might be completely untrue, but I love this analogy anyway, that a dragonfly lives under the water as larva for 2 years, in gestation, I guess, until it becomes a dragonfly. And then it lives as a dragonfly for 6 months. So if we were to spend 2 years to accomplish something, and we were only able to have it for 6 months, that is 25% of the journey. Or if you look at the whole entire, from beginning for the 2 years and the 6 months, that's 20%. 80% is the doing, and then the 20% is the being. But what if you switch that around and 80% was the being and you enjoyed it, and then that 20% is you can celebrate what you did. And that's really the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the things you do aren't going to matter. 20% of the things you do actually produce 80% of the results. So if you can take that time to enjoy the 2 years of gestation of your dreams, and then enjoy that for the 6 months before you have to start it all over again. Wouldn't that be more fulfilling if you just were grinding for 2 years and then you only had 6 days to enjoy it? It doesn't feel great. So slow down, appreciate the process, and you'll create a more fulfilling life. One where the journey matters just as much as the destination. I think we've all heard that before. But now that you understand why, as you move through 2025, I challenge you, set goals with intention. Know the destination, but also focus on being in the journey. Who do you want to be this year? How can you live in alignment with that vision every single day? Not just Monday through Friday, not just the weekends. Remember, you already have enough. It's okay to desire more, but don't let that steal your joy right here in the present, appreciating what you have. Practice that mindfulness, celebrate the small wins, the small steps that you take, and give yourself permission to really enjoy the process. It is all a mindset shift. If you don't enjoy the process, the end point, is the destination really going to matter? That's it. I could keep going, but I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for joining me on this journey today on something that really hits home and hits my heart, especially at the beginning of the year. Every single year, I feel like I have to tell people, like, why are you setting a resolution? That's so stupid. So now you know why. If you've ever seen me out there and you know me personally, and I said, oh, you're going to set a resolution, that's great. What are you going to do? It's not that I don't care. It's just that I want to think about your long-term goals. So now, whether you know me or not, if this resonated with you, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you want to be this year? In the comments, if it's available wherever you're listening, I want to hear what it is that you're going to accomplish this year, how you want to feel, and how you're going to enjoy the journey and practice that mindfulness and gratitude. And also feel free to reach out or share this episode with someone who really needs to hear it, or someone that has started a resolution and maybe fell off a little bit, because I'm sure that they could use a new start. And it doesn't have to start at the beginning of the year. It can start in February, March, April, May. Your year, your goals start when you're ready to. Do not wait. Until next time, stay present, stay inspired, and keep being. And I'll see you on the next episode.